Every phase space can be divided into very large number of such cells. Every cell is having large number of points. A point present in a cell is known as phase point. A point present in a cell is known as phase point. A phase space has one more name. Other name for phase space is mu space. A phase space is also known as mu space. We use the phase space, the cells in the phase space, the mu space, the cells in the mu space, and the phase points in the cells for study of statistical mechanics. The volume of a cell in a phase space is given by the formula volume of a cell in phase space is always given by the formula H cube. And what is H cube? Cube of the Planck's constant. H is Planck's constant. So this is about the phase space. It is a small article, completely theoretical, but we need this phase space or mu space for study of various type of parameters of the systems or assemblies which are having very large number of particles. So this is about phase space. Hope you got it. And the next article is Maxwell-Boltzmann distribution law, Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics and distribution law. Okay. So our next article in this chapter is Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics and distribution. This statistics is also known as MB statistics. M for Maxwell, B for Boltzmann. These two physicists work together to develop this statistics, and therefore in their honor we call this statistics as Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics. Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics is also known as classical statistical mechanics. Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics is also known as classical statistical mechanics or simply classical statistics. This is because it is not using the concepts of quantum mechanics. It uses the concepts of classical mechanics. Because of this reason, we call this statistics MB statistics or Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics as classical statistics or classical statistical mechanics. This is applicable to every gas. This distribution law, this statistics is applicable to every gas. When we talk of a gas, gas is a system, gas is an assembly of very large number of gas molecules. You know the Avogadro's number, you can apply the value of Avogadro's number to find number of molecules per cc of a gas. Of course, Avogadro's number is more suitable for solid matter because the density of gas may change as the temperature changes, and that may cause the number per cc to vary. But we use this Avogadro's number just to have the idea of how many gas molecules may be there in unit 1. Of course, there are very large number of molecules in unit 1. And as I told in the last lecture, if we want to study the state parameters of a system having a very large number of particles, having very large number of members, heat and thermodynamics could not be applied. This is because the results derived for these state parameters using heat and thermodynamics are inaccurate, are not correct. And therefore we have to apply this statistical mechanics to get correct result for the state parameters of an assembly or a system consisting of very large number of particles. The results derived by statistical mechanics will be inaccurate if the number of particles of a system or assembly go on decreasing, if they are less in number. So whenever an assembly or a system has less number of members, few members, statistical mechanics could not be applied. In that case, we have to apply heat and thermodynamics. But whenever the system or assembly has very large number of members of the particles, we have to apply only statistical mechanics. As I told, Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics is applied only to the gases. It is assumed that the gas particles of a given gas are identical. Identical, exactly same. All particles are exactly same. Identical and distinguishable. The particles, molecules of a gas are identical and distinguishable. And therefore, Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics is applicable to only those systems which are having identical and distinguishable large number of particles or molecules. Let us suppose that you have a system consisting of very large number of particles, and these particles are N. Let these particles are N. This figure N is very large. These particles are identical and distinguishable. Every particle is same in physical appearance, is same in its constitution. Therefore, the particles of a gas, the molecules of a gas are identical. How they are distinguishable? How to distinguish between them? Even it is difficult to distinguish two persons which are twin. And if number of molecules of a gas, if they are identical, which are very large in number, how to distinguish them from each other? The parameter that is used to distinguish these identical particles from each other is the energy possessed by the particle. And therefore, distribution or distinguishing property of these particles is possible because of the energy possessed by different particles. These particles get distributed according to their energy. We can call energy level 1, energy level 2, energy state 1, energy state 2, energy state 3, energy state 4 and so on. Energy state or energy level 1 corresponding to that state in which all the particles have same energy. Let us suppose that this energy is E1. E1 energy of first energy state or first energy level. E2 energy of second energy state or second energy level. E3 energy of third energy level and so on. All the particles having energy E1 will be distributed in energy level E1. All the particles having energy E2 will get distributed in energy level E2 and so on. Let us suppose that n1 number of particles out of n occupy energy level E1. n2 number of particles from this n get occupied in energy level E2. n3 number of particles from this n get occupied in energy level E3. This is continued for various energy levels, and we may say that n number of particles get distributed in the energy level EI. This distribution of identical and distinguishable particles in different energy levels is in accordance with Maxwell-Boltzmann statistics. The gas under consideration is finite. Although it is having very large number of particles, the number of particles are also finite in number, although they may be very large, but they are finite because the given gas, the gas under consideration is finite. It means that the gas is finite, very large number of particles of the gas are also finite, therefore this n should be constant. As n is constant, energy corresponding to these n number of molecules of the gas will be constant. And therefore, I may write one equation. If we take sum of all the gas molecules distributed in various energy levels, we will have capital N is equal to N1 plus N2 plus N3 plus N4 and so on, and that should be equal to constant. If the number of particles are constant, energy possessed by all these particles should also be constant. Energy of one particle in E1 is E1. Energy of two particles in E1 is 2E1. Energy of three particles in E1 is 3E1 and so on. Energy of all the particles in E1 will be E1 En1. Energy of all the particles in E2 will be N2 E2. Energy of all particles in E3 will be N3 E3 and so on. And therefore, the total energy of the system under consideration can be written as E is equal to E1 N1 plus E2 N2 plus dash dash plus EI Ni, equation number 2, and this is also constant. Number of particles of this system are constant, given by equation number 1. Total energy of these particles in this system is also constant, given by equation. If you are asked to differentiate equation 1 and equation 2, then very large. But as the gas is finite. This n is also finite. Energy corresponding to this is also finite. N constant, E constant, given by equations 1 and 2. You are asked to differentiate equation 1 and 2. Why we differentiate equation 1 and 2? Because we wanted to see change in number of particles of the system, change in energy of the system. Let us differentiate equation 1. If we differentiate equation 1 may further be written as dn is equal to dn1 plus dn2 plus dash dash dni. How is n1? Constant. How is n2? Constant. How is n3? Constant. How is n4? Constant. If I take sum of all this, I may write this dn is equal to summation of I dni that is equal to 0. Equation number 3, because n is constant. As n is constant, differentiation of equation 1 should be 0 given by equation 3. Similarly, let us differentiate equation number 2 for the constant energy of the system. If we differentiate this equation, we may have dE is equal to E1 dN1 plus E2 dN2. This can be continued till the last term, or we may further write this as summation of I EI dNi is equal to 0. Equation number 4. As n number of molecules in the given system are constant, its differentiation is 0. Total energy corresponding to these n number of molecules is also constant, and therefore equation of 2 is also 0. So we have equation 3 for differentiation of total number of molecules in the given system, and equation 4 for differentiation of total energy of the particles in the given system. Let us remember these equations and we shall move further. Now, we know there are n number of particles in the system. Let us suppose this system has gi number of cells. You know cells, the smallest volume element in a phase space or mu space is this. Let us suppose that there are gi number of cells. The system has gi number of cells and ni number of molecules. This ni is what? If I take summation of this ni, it will be simply capital N. Let us suppose that the phase space or mu space has gi number of cells, and in these gi number of cells, ni number of molecules of the system are to be distributed. If the first cell is G1, number of molecules get distributed in this cell will be N1. Second cell is, it will be G2. Number of molecules distributed in G2 will be N2. This can be continued, and we may write Gi corresponding to N. And distribution of the particles N1 in G1, number of particles N2 in cell G2, number of particles N3 in G3, may further be written as simply P1 is equal to Gi to the power Ni, equation number 5. Probable distribution of N1 number of particles in G1 cell, N2 number of particles in cell G2, N3 number of particles in cell G3, and so on up to the last cell Gi. Then distribution of all the n number of particles in all possible Gi number of cells of the given system will be simply given by P1 is equal to Gi to the power Ni. Will be simply given by Gi to the power Ni, or I may write this as G1 to the power N1 into G2 to the power N2 into G3 to the power N3. This will be continued. And in short, this is written as Gi to the power Ni. This is distribution of Ni number of particles in Gi number of cells of the system under consideration. Then, out of this capital N1 goes to E1, energy level E1, having G1 number of cells. N2 number of particles go to energy level E2, having G2 number of cells, and so on. We have to select group of particles N1, N2, N3, N4 from the total particles N. And the maximum possible probability of distribution of these group of molecules N1, N2, N3 from the total particles N may be given by P is equal to P2 is equal to not P N factorial divided by N1 factorial into N2 factorial into N3 factorial, and this will be continued. You may write this as equation number, or let me write this in short as N factorial divided by Ni factorial, which is P2, and let me write equation 6 for this. Equation 5, it gives the probability of distribution of N1 number of particles in G1 number of cells, N2 number of particles in G2 number of cells, N3 number of particles in G3 number of cells, and so on. And the total probability will be given by Gi to the power N. We are forming groups of the particles N1, N2, N3, N4, and so on. These groups are taken from the total number of particles capital N. And the probability of distribution of these groups N1, N2, N3, N4, etc. from the constant number capital N will be given by P2, which is capital N factorial divided by N1 factorial into N2 factorial into N3 factorial, and so on. Or it is simply capital N factorial divided by N factorial. The thermodynamic probability, total probability of distribution of all the particles of the given system among all the cells in different energy levels is given as product of equations 5 and 6. Thermodynamic probability or total probability of distribution of all the particles of the given system into different energy levels among different cells is given as product of equations 5 and 6, and this thermodynamic probability is therefore written as thermodynamic probability capital P is equal to product of P1 and P2, and that is equal to this one thermodynamic probability or total probability of distribution of all the particles among the available energy levels and among all the cells in that system is product of equations 5 and 6, which is P is equal to P1 into P2, that is equal to product of these two terms, and it will be P is equal to capital N factorial divided by Ni factorial into Gi to the power Ni, equation number 7. This is the thermodynamic probability. Thermodynamic probability of a system is also defined as the maximum possible distinct ways of distribution. Thermodynamic probability of distribution of the particles is also defined as the maximum number of possible and distinct ways of distribution of all the particles of the system among various energy levels and the cells of the system. And equation 7 is about the thermodynamic probability of the system for distribution of the particles among various energy levels and various cells of the system. I think we have completed half of this article, so we shall stop here. In the next lecture we shall continue from equation 7 onwards. Thank you.